my younger sister and I our very first puppy for Christmas. This came as a huge surprise to everyone because my parents did not really enjoy animals at the time, but we were all still really ecstatic. Unfortunately, just a few short years later, our puppy died from sickness after a lot of effort from my family and our vet to get him well. He passed because of careless breeding habits, and we were all devastated. My family now only adopts our animals from shelters after this terrible experience we went through together. We have saved a new dog this past Christmas, Bobby, from heartworms and being put down because we decided to adopt, not shop this time around. Each year, thousands and thousands of animals are sent to shelters because they can either no longer be looked after by their owners, were lost, or were abandoned. According to the Washington Parish Animal Shelter, almost 6,000 dogs and cats were brought into the shelter in the year 2016 alone. Unfortunately, only about 22% of those animals were adopted, and only 10% were recovered by their owners. This means about 4,000 animals were put down just in the town I live in alone this past year. This issue not only affects my area though, it affects shelters all over the country. So imagine the large number of animals put down this past year because they weren't adopted. Therefore, it is so vitally important that we adopt pets and not shop for them. It also is more logical. Because of the large number of pets available in shelters, it really makes one wonder why breeding and shopping for animals is still so largely popular today when it makes so much more sense to adopt your pet instead. Adopting your pet can help decrease the number of homeless or worse, euthanized animals each year. According to humanesociety.org, every year 2.7 million dogs and cats are put down in the United States. This is because lots of pets are coming into shelters and not many people think of adoption when getting an animal. If more people would consider adoption as their number one option when getting a pet, these numbers would decrease tremendously. The SPCA.com website says that after adopting, you're also making room for other animals in the already super crowded shelters. This is giving a second chance to all of these animals. The shelter can then better care for them with the available space and resources that they have. There's also several cost benefits to getting a pet from the shelter. After reading about pet adoption online, PETA.org made a lot of interesting points. When you get a dog from the shelter, most shelters cover spaying and neutering costs, as well as vaccination expenses, and the pets usually are already house trained, which means you save some carpet and costs that you would spend on potty training them. You can also adopt a pet right here in Ruston for a really affordable price. The website fourpawsrescueinc.org claimed that it is only $100 to adopt a dog right here in town, not very far from campus. Also, Sean Carmody from lcanimal.org claimed that you can save a lot of money from vet expenses if you get a shelter dog rather than a dog that is bred that typically gets sick more often. If learning these facts about shelters and pet adoption doesn't convince you to stop shopping for animals, learning about the terrible breeding conditions that a lot of them go through will further push you. Many animal breeders do not practice safe or sanitary breeding habits for their animals. An article by Bert Stoop at animalfreedom.org informed me that dog breeders, the most common form of breeding is called line breeding. He claimed that, unfortunately, this type of breeding is inbreeding. This process is used so that dog shoppers can get a dog with the look or style of their choice, but more often than not, the dogs end up plagued with disease, pain, and don't live very long. Puppy mills are another common problem in the dog breeding world. An article from the dogfiles.com claimed that a lot of the most common pet stores today have puppies that are a result of puppy mills. These mills breed dogs cheaply and more quickly so they can earn more money. Therefore, many of the dogs end up with defects that owners don't even know when they purchase them. A story recorded by C.D. Watson at Petful.com claimed that one dog, a beautiful golden retriever named Max, was used for breeding at a puppy mill. This mill was recently raided and he was rescued and adopted, but most of the damage was already done for Max. He was extremely sick, had 2 broken hips, and many other broken bones because of the small size of the cage that he was kept in. His owner tried her best to bring him back to good health and to get him ready for the real world, But because of the terrible environment he was in at the puppy mill, Max had to be put down to sleep. Sadly, this story is not uncommon for a lot of the animal breeding places around the world. Shopping for your pets is only giving money to these businesses that treat animals so poorly. Overall, the breeding of cats and dogs is only adding to the overpopulation problem both of these animals have so badly going on right now, and adding more animals to the already overcrowded shelters. Interestingly enough, according to Corinne Hen at OneGreenPlanet.com, around 25% of the animals that are living in shelters right now are of purebred descent anyway. If purchasing an animal that is of purebred descent is something that you're interested in, you can still find them while adopting and not shopping for them. With this information about the desperate situations at shelters all over the country and the cruelty from pet breeders, one should really be inspired to always adopt your animals from now on. Doing so can decrease animal overpopulation, save an animal's life, and take away business from breeders that are treating animals like our friend Max so poorly all over the country. When you adopt a pet, you're giving a furry friend that did nothing to deserve being abandoned, left behind, or left in a shelter a chance. This should encourage everyone to stop shopping for your animals and to adopt from local shelters who desperately need your help and the available space. If you're currently looking for a pet, there are tons of local shelters with information online. So go out and adopt your pets. Don't shop for your new best friend.